folks. Yeah, I had, what a morning. What a morning. So I prattled on and on a little bit earlier this morning and about some worries that I was experiencing this morning, and decided to try and cut that down a little bit, just so you don't have to hear the whole thing, because it doesn't have to be a big long story. I was feeling this morning like I could either go two directions in my vlog this morning. I could try to ignore kind of how I was feeling this morning and just try and develop a new mindset for the rest of the day, or I could talk about it here on the camera. And even though it made me feel kind of silly and it makes me feel kind of lame to be feeling this way only a day after really solidly making this commitment to try and become this artist who is able to make a living. But it is what it is, and I'm sure that I'm not alone in feeling the feelings that I have felt this morning, which is like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And the anxiety creeping in. And I did my best to utilize my tools for handling anxiety, which is, for me, is my fiber craft, spinning. And this morning that didn't really work, because as I was sitting and spinning, I was thinking even more anxious thoughts. So I sat down at the computer and did some writing. That's another tool that I use to try and cope with anxiety or feelings of nervousness. Because I woke up this morning with kind of my heart in my throat, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, have I totally ruined my craft life? And should I be trying to separate my craft life from my work life, so that the stresses and everything that come along with trying to bring in an income don't contaminate the beautiful, wonderful, stress-free, joyful, creative environment that I have over here with my textiles? But I want to see if I can find this happy medium between the two, that, wanting to sell your craft and sell your work doesn't necessarily have to suck all of the joy out of it. And this morning, that's what I was worried about, is that, when we put a price tag on something, it kind of changes our mindset towards it. And, thinking about how much time everything is taking, and not getting an hourly wage for that time spent. And, there's all these different factors that come into play about as you try and want to try and sell your work, right? And you can kind of almost sell your soul if you're not careful. And at least that's how it feels for me. Maybe that's a little dramatic, but you can, if you start focusing, I found anyway, just on the money, you lose the whole reason for why you're doing what you're doing. But if I want to make an income, there's some necessity in me having to think about the time I'm spending doing things and whether or not they are something that I can sell. And yeah, so I came into this with a ton of unanswered questions. Even though I have been thinking about wanting to do this for the last 6 months, there's still many, many, many things that I still need to iron out and figure out how I'm going to actually make work. And I think that it's possible. I've enjoyed so much just delving into my craft more this year and in the past year, in 2018, and imagining all sorts of ways to try and turn it into something more than just a hobby, and try and see if it's even possible to earn a little bit of money off of this. And I was saying in my very long-winded videos that all that I really want from this is just to be able to take a little bit of the weight off of my husband, who's having to carry us right now and support us as I'm still recovering and figuring out how to work with my brain and my body, and find a solution that's going to fit with me. And being at home has been so good for me. Definitely always going to be needing to get out and be with people, because I am this people person. But when it comes to being able to take care of my body and listen to it and be sensitive to the changes that my brain has gone through. You know, being in the quiet space of my home, being able to take time to relax very quickly if I need it, because your neurology can change so fast and it's all happening up there really, really lightning fast. And you know, if I feel a seizure coming on, I can very easily get to my medicine, and I can very easily find a place to be safe and lay down. And right now it just seems to be the most comforting and good place for me to be. But you know, I need to find a way to bring in an income. I need to find a way to do that, because you know, we're not super well off and wealthy. We need that secondary income, and I want to find a way to contribute. I have struggled a lot in my life with feeling like my worth and my value has been tied to my ability to have a job and to bring in an income. And you know, fortunately right now I do have a little part-time work where I'm helping build a website for a yarn company, which is fantastic. I'm taking care of some of her photography and her social media. That's West Coast Color, by the way. Got to definitely plug that in. She's a fantastic artist and dyer, and I'm very, very happy to be supporting her on the side of the business, the technological side that isn't so much her forte. So it allows her to really do what she really loves to do, and that's been really great for me. It's helped a little bit, but we live in a fairly expensive part of the world. We live just outside of Vancouver, and we would like to not leave if we can, because it's very important for both of us to be close to our families, especially with me having health issues. So I want to be really, I want to approach the whole money aspect to this very, very openly. And I know that talking about money it's an uncomfortable topic for all of us, I think. And I want to talk about what I'm looking for, what my needs are, why, you know, what I'm hoping to be able to, the amount that I'm hoping to be able to get to eventually, that would give us a lot more security and stability than we have right now. But I'm trying still to figure out how to balance out the fun and the joy and the creativity, and then this, you know, I find that money is often a really big downer, but we all need it to live. So that's just the world we live in. So it's going to take some thinking and some planning and some just spending some time trying to come up with some creative solutions about how I can do that. And I have some ideas. So yeah. Okay, I'm only 2 minutes shorter than the one I did last time. Great job. Oh well. So I'm going to get on with my day. I've got some computer work to do, and hopefully you will be watching me also giving this room a little bit of a makeover, because it needs it. And I think that I'll be able to think a little bit more clearly once I've got things a little bit more tidy. So I'll check in with you later. I thought I would just show you what I'm working on right now. This is not for sale. This is a project that I had going on as a thank you to an incredible man, and it's really for his wife, but for his partner. I have another thing on the loom going for him. I wanted to have these done by Christmas, but there was just too much going on, and that's okay. So I have got here some smoky lavender colored flax and linen. And this is from Ancient Arts Yarns. I believe the base is called Indulgence. And I've got, I don't know if you're able to see it here, but I've got little beads in here, just very, very sparsely throughout. And I just kind of put them at the beginning of each of the repeats, just to add just a tiny bit of sparkle to the project. But this is how far along that I am. So I've got a long way to go. So all caked up. It's a beautiful base to work with. It's very, very airy and light, and this was by this woman's request, silk and linen. And I am working, this pattern is a Sylvia McFadden pattern. This one is her Sometime Alone shawl, which I have knit a lot of. I love this pattern. I basically have it memorized, and I'm trying it in lace weight. It's written for a worsted weight, but this yarn is exactly what the woman was looking for, and I think she will also love that the pattern was designed by a person who's local to us. It's so fun how fast worsted weight shawls knit up. I've knit quite a few lace weight shawls. I love the daintiness and the feminine quality of lace weight yarns. I love too that they are something that you can really easily layer or wear in the summertime as well, you know, in the cooler evenings, or if you're using a yarn like this that's flax and linen that's super breathable and not as warm as wool, you could even wear it, you know, and on a hotter day too, to cover up your shoulders. I feel a little bit right now like I feel a little bit like the Green Bean podcast. I can't, for the life of me, I can't remember the host's name right now, and I don't want to mess it up, but she has these moments where she just sits and knits and kind of pauses and shares her thoughts as she's knitting, and I liked that a lot. It made me feel like I was at knitting group or just sitting and knitting with her. It just felt very natural. It's nice to give yourself little pauses to think before you speak, and I like how knitting allows us to do that a little bit. She is an incredible artist, and I hope that you will check her out. She's an illustrator and has written a book, very, very inspiring book that I would like to purchase, about her past and her difficulty with health issues. And I think her comic book style of, you know, going through this difficult time in her life was such a wonderful and profound way to share some of her struggles and her triumphs. To see these images going along with the words, it very much made it very impactful, I think. And yeah, I highly look up to her as an artist. I think she's super fantastic, and I hope that you'll give her a watch. I've got this is my Flegel beater here. So it's a tiny, tiny, tiny crochet hook. And I've loaded up all my beads on here. These are some beads from beadeffects.com. Delica 10/0 light gray AB. So I think they're really quite pretty. I'll just show you a little spot where they're at right here in the. So it blends in really nicely. It just adds just a tiniest bit of sparkle. Oops. So I'm going to show you how I put those on. And I'm probably going to do it in a pretty clumsy way, but that's the way it goes. Oops. So I pull the loop off, make sure that the others don't come off with it, and I bring up a bead, slide it over, try to, oops, this one didn't go on so easily, so it kind of split the yarn a little bit. I don't think that'll be a big deal though, once I've got it all kind of back on there. There we go. Yeah. Actually, I don't think that one worked. See here. No, it did. I just pulled one of the plies a little bit, but I think that's okay. I'll try another one. Hopefully you're able to see what I'm doing. I have my camera turned around. This is a bit of a thicker lace weight, so the beads are a little bit fiddly to have to pull on, but it works out. So I'm just putting them at this point that the pattern comes to. Hopefully you can see it there, just this point right here. I wanted to show you in a bit of a better lighting situation the beads in here. They're they're quite hard to see. Like I wanted them to be very subtle, just like an added little touch of sparkle. But I love this pattern. It's so fun to work with, so fun to do, so meditative for me now. And I'm so in awe of the new iPhone. When my camera broke for the photographs I was taking, I decided to take advantage of Apple's holiday return policy and give the new iPhone a try. And I have to say, I'm in love. It does an amazing job of capturing colors and taking pictures. This is the view from our balcony, the very glamorous back of the liquor store, where the pair of local homeless people like to have very loud discussions sometimes. It can be quite entertaining at times. So I have lost the light now. Evening has come. And I am still working away on the computer, so I don't really have anything else that's exciting to share today. So that's it. Today is my last day with this glorious iPhone. I'll talk a little bit more tomorrow about why I had this iPhone and why I am no longer going to have it, because it really saved my butt having this iPhone. The brand new iPhone, the camera on it is amazing. It's really hard to put it any other way, and it was a privilege to be able to use this camera for a short period of time, but I must think on whether or not this is the best solution for me for replacing my old camera, which has broken. So anyway, I'm going to put together my vlog for today and post it, and I'll chat with you tomorrow. Take care.